Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Richard Mata. I'm gonna comment again on the discussion of not to wear gloves or to wear gloves because there's a video here on YouTube. It is just a few hours was published and it's an international video. And then I just want to comment on what he said, and I'm gonna also explain my side. So let's watch it.
So I do see people wearing surgical gloves out there on the street, and my patients have asked me if they should be doing this, and my answer to that question has always been no. And the reason for that is that I think people are wearing these gloves for the wrong reasons. Coronavirus doesn't get into our bodies through our hands. In fact, our skin is just as good, if not better, a barrier against infections, including viruses, than any man-made glove that you can buy. The way that the coronavirus gets into our body is through what we call mucous membranes, and that means the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Now, the problem is that the average person touches their face about 20 times an hour. And so that coronavirus, which is on various different surfaces, gets transferred to people's hands, and then without them thinking about it, it goes onto their face. And wearing gloves doesn't really change that. In fact, the coronavirus on various surfaces will stick to the glove just as well, if not better, than it would stick to your hand. And so the glove doesn't prevent that transmission. In fact, it may be giving people a false sense of security, and they might touch even more surfaces, but then again, still transfer that coronavirus back to their face. The way that I use gloves as a healthcare worker is if I am going to see a patient with coronavirus, I'll start by washing my hands, and then I'll put on my gear, including my gloves. Then I'll go into the patient room, I'll interact with that patient, I'll come out, and then I'll take off my gear, dispose of my gloves, and then I'm going to wash my hands again. So the gloves really are meant for a single use. They're not designed for prolonged use or daily use. So the bottom line is you want to stop touching your face. And because we all tend to slip up, it's a good idea to just keep washing your hands. And you can think of it as each time you wash your hands, you're putting on a fresh pair of gloves. And if you really want to control your hands, just stick them in your pockets and leave them there.
Okay, first thing, he said that the virus doesn't go to our hands or seeps to our hands, goes inside the body. And I do believe all of us knows that already. People are actually wearing gloves. That's one thing, is that they cannot touch their faces. I really disagree on his point that wearing gloves doesn't prevents you from touching your face. I would like to challenge anyone here. If you have a mannerism of touching your face, try using a glove and then count how many times you've touched your face. So my bottom line in this COVID issue, I do believe the main thing, that the reason that it's still growing, that it seems like spreading, it's because we are still not disciplined on that we should not touch our faces. I would like to show to you this video as well.
Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth.
Don't touch your face. Mike.
Washing your hands and not touching your mouth and your nose.
I always say the common sense of washing your hands, not touching your face.
These are very important things. Working hard, not to touch your face.
Start working on not touching your face.
I haven't touched my face in weeks. In weeks.
Mr. President,
I miss it.
Okay, as you could see, these are leaders of our nation, leaders of the world, but even though they say that they don't touch their faces, or they advise us not to touch our faces, the same way they still touch their faces. So that's the problem here, because actually we're somehow playing hypocrites. We always advise people not to touch their faces, but we ourselves tend to touch our faces because it's a mannerism. And because we can't change it, we just pretend that we have already changed it. I do believe even that Dr. Gupta guy, I do believe he still touches his face. So you have to train yourself not to touch your face. The problem there is when they go out, they may get a virus while they go shopping because there's still people there. And then they can bring that home. And is I really advise that you could wear some gloves. Now, latex gloves are of course short because of the supply, and then that's reserved for hospital use or the healthcare workers. But I would like to suggest that you could use this kind of gloves. This is an ordinary plastic gloves you use for the kitchen. So if you're the one who's gonna go out and then do some shopping for the family during this time of quarantine, I suggest that you wear your mask, and of course you could wear your gloves. Why? Because when you go out, you'll be holding a lot of things. And if you're not conscious, you tend to touch your face. I could bet that you're still touching your face. But if you're wearing something, you'll be conscious, and then you tend to not to touch your face. And then, of course, as you go to the grocery, you might touch the grocery cart. And then when you go home, you know that there's something on your hands that you don't want to bring it home. So before you go home, you would remove the gloves before you touch your doorknob, and remove it properly. Throw it on the trash can outside. Do a hand washing, 20 to 30 seconds. And in that way, you will be preventing the transfer of what you've touched outside the house and preventing it from coming home and avoiding you to touch your face. So again, I would like to disagree to people who says gloves are not important in this time of COVID-19 season. But of course, one thing I would like to promote: don't focus on the latex because that's for healthcare workers. For us, for the layman who's going out, an ordinary cellophane gloves will do. Just dispose it properly, and it will train you not to touch your face, because this, you protect your eyes, nose, and mouth. That's where the virus comes in through your hands. Even if you wear mask, but when you remove your mask, you rub your nose, then the virus still comes in. So please be serious with this, and that's my advice that the world is still not really doing. Thank you so much.